Welcome to all. SV Union High School and Junior College, Pune, Economics, Standard 12th. Presented by Dr. Inderjeet Kaur Ahluwalia. Chapter 4, Supply Analysis, Part 3. Variations and changes in supply. Firstly, let us study and understand what is meant by variations in supply. When quantity supplied of a commodity varies due to change in its price, other factors remaining constant, it is known as variations in supply. There are two types of variations in supply. First, expansion of supply, and second, contraction of supply. First, expansion of supply. Expansion of supply refers to a rise in the quantity supplied due to a rise in the price of a commodity, other factors remaining constant. Expansion in supply leads to an upward movement on the same supply curve due to a rise in price. Contraction of supply. Contraction of supply refers to a fall in the quantity supplied due to fall in the price of a commodity, other factors remaining constant. In case of contraction of supply, there is a downward movement on the same supply curve. Expansion of supply and contraction of supply can be understood with the help of respective curves. Firstly, in expansion of supply figure, quantity supplied is shown on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Quantity supplied rises from OQ to OQ1 with a rise in price from OP to OP1, resulting in an upward movement from M to N along the same supply curve SS. It is known as expansion of supply. In the case of contraction of supply, quantity supplied is shown on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Quantity supplied falls from OQ to OQ2 with a fall in price from OP to OP2, resulting in a downward movement from N to M on the same supply curve SS. It is known as contraction of supply. Another point of distinguish between expansion of supply and contraction of supply is expansion in supply leads to an upward movement on the same supply curve due to a rise in price. Whereas, in case of contraction of supply, there is a downward movement on the same supply curve. Let us proceed to understanding changes in supply. When other factors change and price remains constant, it is known as changes in supply. There are two types of changes in supply. First, increase in supply, and second, decrease in supply. Let us study simultaneously in the form of a distinguish between the two. Meaning of increase in supply. Increase in supply refers to a rise in the supply of a given commodity due to favorable changes in other factors such as fall in the price of inputs, fall in tax rates, technological upgradation, etc., while price remains constant. The supply curve shifts to the right of the original supply curve. The meaning of decrease in supply. Decrease in supply refers to a fall in the supply of a given commodity due to unfavorable changes in other factors such as increase in the prices of inputs, increase in tax rate, outdated technology, strikes by worker, while price remains constant. The supply curve shifts to the left of the original supply curve. Let us analyze the increase and decrease in supply with the help of the respective curves. Increase in supply. In this figure, quantity supplied is shown on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Supply rises from OQ to OQ1 at the same price OP, resulting in an outward shift of the original supply curve to the right from SS to S'. It is known as increase in supply. Simultaneously, in case of decrease in supply, figure quantity supplied is shown on x-axis and price on the y-axis. Supply falls from OQ to OQ2 at the same price OP, resulting in an inward shift of the original supply curve to the left from SS to S2 S2. It is known as decrease in supply. The third point of distinguish: in increase in supply, the supply curve shifts to the right of the original supply curve, whereas in case of decrease in supply, the supply curve shifts to the left of the original supply curve. We have studied in this video what is meant by variations and changes in supply. The important distinguish between variation and changes is variations take place because of change in price alone, whereas in changes, the changes take place because of other factors besides price, and price remains constant. In variation, we have two types, that is expansion and contraction. In changes, we also have two types, which is increase in supply and decrease in supply. The important form of question asked is in the way of distinguish than a short note, and therefore we have covered in this video in a distinguish form. Distinguishes will be for 2 marks each. Thank you.